everyone, once again, welcome to Real Good, your go-to channel for cutting-edge tech, real-world problem-solving, stress-free fixes to all of those head-scratching bugs and challenges that you may encounter in your tech journey. Today, what we will be looking and talking about is unlocking the power of AI image generation. Especially if you do not own your own GPU. So we will be walking you through step by step every little detail on how to be able to set up your own AI image generation kits such that you will no longer be censored. So have you ever tried generating images on the popular platforms and then you get no, you cannot access this anymore, or no, you have breached the policy? So if you watch this video, at the end of it, you would be able to generate your own videos uncensored and also be able to leverage an online cloud GPU. Stick around for more. So today's content is basically for you if you've ever stared at your screen forever, like forever, waiting for an AI art to render because you want to generate an image, or it's also for you if you've come frustratingly across some of those censored messages indicating that there's a particular type of image that you cannot render and you have been censored. If that is you, hit the like button and follow through to the end, because I will show you just how you can take control of your image generating arts such that you can be able to generate your own image uncensored. Follow through. And also, if you are interested in content like this where we break down real fixes to real tech headaches, challenges that people face and bugs, you want to hit the subscribe button so you get notified once a new content comes out. So for today, I'll be talking first of all how to set up the environment, which includes setting up and launching RunPod, which is the platform which we would be using. I will later in this video tell you what RunPod is and how to set yourself up to be able to use that platform. And also the model which we'll be using in this video is Stable Diffusion Web UI. I would also take you around how to set up Stable Diffusion Web UI on RunPod, and also kind of walk you through the workarounds of some of the issues that you may encounter and how to work around them. I would also be talking about styles, models that you can adopt that would bring your images to a much more realistic and remove all of those distortion that happens when you try to generate an image. So I'll be able to create just these fantastic looking images that would render so well. And at the end, we will talk about key takeaways and some of the things you need to do. Stick around. To run and train AI models, you require very powerful GPUs. To run and train AI models to do stuff like video generation, image generation, even text generation, you require powerful GPU. A GPU basically is a specialized processor that is designed to accelerate graphics rendering and parallel computing tasks. It is that infrastructure that allows you to be able to do parallel computing tasks fast. Originally, it was created to handle complex visual calculations in video games, but now modern GPUs are now used for AI and machine learning, basically used in training and running models like Stable Diffusion that we would be using in this video. The GPU can also be used for 3D rendering purposes, where you create high quality images animations. It can also be used for video processing, where you encode, decode, and editing videos efficiently. GPUs, which very much unlike CPUs, are have been optimized to handle parallel tasks. CPUs are more optimized for sequential tasks. So tasks such as A, then do B, then do C, then do D. But GPU can do multiple tasks at the same time. So they excel at handling thousands of operations simultaneously, making them perfect for image generation and deep learning applications. Now, the problem with having a laptop with GPU is that it's super expensive. It can cost from a minimum of about $5,000 to close to about $15,000, $20,000 to set up a good GPU that is quite scalable and can handle multiple range of tasks. This is where RunPod comes in. So RunPod is a cloud platform that gives you access to these high performance GPUs that are perfect for running models such as Stable Diffusion, Llama models. So this platform is available also for training models or even sometimes generating videos. So, and it's a pay as you go uh, platform, which means that you only pay for what you use. When you're not using the platform, you can just turn it off and save some money there, so you don't have to run it 24/7. So you only use it when you have some videos to create. You can turn it off, you can stop it, or make it idle. So this is what RunPod is for. So that is what that is the cloud platform we'll be using today to be able to set up our models instead of spending lots of money to buy a laptop or set up a computer system that would give us the same level of technology that you would have in the RunPod platform. On the other hand, Stable Diffusion is just an open source AI model that is available online. Stable Diffusion helps generate images from text. So you type in a prompt and it brings your imagination to life. This is what Stable Diffusion is. So the problem with most of the models, there are so many models. The problem with a lot of these models is that they are censored. So you cannot imagine, your level of imagination is restricted to some rules that are depending on the provider. But what you want to do is to be able to have control, low level control on what you imagine and what you generate from text. This is where Stable Diffusion comes in. That restriction that is removed and gives you control when you run it on a cloud platform like RunPod. So you would use Stable Diffusion to bring everything from concept art to something you just imagine to photorealistic portraits. But like I mentioned earlier, it is heavy and running it locally can be very slow and take days to be able to generate even the right image or the right picture. And RunPod comes in there and is able to help you provide you services that it's a pay as you go service that you can switch on when you don't need it or make idle. And at the same time, you would be able to leverage on the powerful GPU infrastructure that RunPod has to create your own models, uh, host your own models, and generate images whenever you want and whenever you like. The very first step on this journey is to head over to RunPod platform and to create an account. You can go to RunPod platform using the link that is available on the screen, but it would also be available down in the description uh, section. So go over there, click on the link that takes you directly to the RunPod platform, and then you will create an account. I would show you how that happens in a minute. So you click on the link. Once you see that happen, pause, click on the link, and then navigate over to RunPod portal. So open up your browser and enter the URL which you copied from, or which you click from the description, and that should take you over to RunPod. So once you get to RunPod, this is the RunPod infrastructure. It's got the little button here that says get started, and some other description. If you're interested, you could just maybe take a read on some of the features that are available on RunPod, and also some of the capabilities that are available that you could use. You could also navigate over to the pricing and see all of the available GPUs and what it costs. You have GPUs for as high as $6 per hour. You also have for as low as 26 cents per hour for the recent models. All of these models are quite recent and they are all on the secure cloud. But if you head over to the community cloud, so there are basically two types of clouds. There's the community cloud and then there's the secure cloud. So on the community cloud, you tend to get prices that are cheaper, up to 22 cents per hour. So, but for now, don't worry about all of that. What you need to do now is get started. Click on this button there that says get started, and when you click on that button, it's going to ask you to sign up with Google. So what you need to do here is to click on sign up with Google and then provide your Google email for your single sign-on, and follow the prompts generally to take you straight to the RunPod portal. So take a pause from this video so that we could do this together. Click on the link in the description. It takes you to the RunPod portal, and when you get to the RunPod portal, click on the get started. Once you click on the get started, click on your Google account and create your account, follow the prompts, and that should bring you to the RunPod homepage. If you have any issues doing this, just put a comment in the description and I would check to see how we can resolve the challenge or the issue. So I'll see you on the other side of this video. Click on that link, get to RunPod, create an account, and we'll proceed from there. So once you create your accounts and log in into RunPod, I should also mention that there are two. You could, if you have an existing account, a Google account, you could just log in with your Google account. If you do not have an existing Google account, you create a Google account and then you log in, and that should bring you to this RunPod page. On RunPod page, the first page you see is the dashboard that shows you your usage patterns. So on the center of the screen there, you tend to see your usage pattern, and one of the very first thing you need to do in order to be able to generate your pod. A pod is just on a mini computer that is running on the cloud that has got its own resources. It's got its own GPU, CPU, RAM, and processing units, which you can spin up at any time and remove at any time. So the very first thing you need to do to be able to generate and create a pod is to first load your account with a balance. So if you look on the top left of the screen there, my current balance is $6. So you could load a balance for as little as $25, $50. So click on any of the balance which you want to load, and then it will put that in this text here, and then click on pay with card. So click on pay with card, provide your card details and the country where you are from, and click save card, and that would debit your account and then credit your balance here, and this balance will decrease to the amount which you have specified. I should also mention, you could specify a different amount that is not listed here, but your spend limit is about $80 per hour, so you just have to take note of that. So once you have all of your accounting information set up, the next thing you want to do is click on this pod on the left hand side here. So I'm just going to do that. I'll click on pod on the left hand side. Once you click on pod, you have access to all of the GPU information. And just on this GPU information, you would see how much it would cost if you set this up. The provider for most of the GPU infrastructure is NVIDIA, which is a CPU organization, processing unit organization. So this is some of their latest models in terms of the GPU offering, and this was the previous one. So I should mention that there are two types of cloud. I've mentioned before that there are two types of cloud. So we've got the secure cloud, the community cloud. So secure cloud just gives you the bells and whistle of security when you're running all of this in a cloud. But if you want it cheap, you go to the community cloud. So click on the community cloud, and then you will be able to see some other GPU offering. I would usually tend to go for the previous generation and pick something not too expensive, maybe for image generation, where you have about 8 gigabytes VRAM, which is fast enough. Or you could go for something as high as RTX 390, which is generally the standard which most people use anyway, and or you just do an RTX A500. So depending on your cost, depending on your balance, you want to pick something. So if you look at this, you will see that you have the cost and you have where the availability as well, which is shown here. So it tells you if this portal is available, the status of its availability, if it's low, if it is unavailable, if it is high. So generally you want to pick, so most of the cheap ones you see are unavailable, but you could keep refreshing because sometimes they become available as well. If you look at this, they are still not available, so I may just go for the ROTX for A400, which is at 17 cents per hour. So the I'll take, there's even a cheaper one low, but it's low. I'll take the 70 cents per hour, which is medium, or you could sometimes go for the 22 cents per hour. So for the sake of this video, let's take the 22 cents per hour. The next thing you want to do is give your pod a name. So a name that represents what you want to do. So I will just name this Stable Diffusion, diffusion, um, Stable Diffusion demo. And once you do that, you have to either use the existing template, so it comes with templates. So using the existing template means you are going to have to download the stable diffusion models yourself, set up the Python yourself, make sure you set up your Ubuntu, because every of these pod runs on the Ubuntu version of Linux. So you are going to make sure that all of that operating system is set up and are available. You are going to make sure. So it's a lot of work. So usually what happens is that there's pre-existing templates which you could use. So if I click on change, so I will just click on change templates there. So I'll click on change templates, and that should load all of the templates that are available that I could use. So these templates already come with a lot of the preparations that you would need to get your environment ready. All of the software, the components, the models would all be downloaded once I choose this template and I spin up the RunPod. So there are so many of them you could use depending on your need. We will go over each one of them, but with the one we need, so if I just put stable diffusion in the templates there, in the search, stable diffusion, it brings all of the stable diffusion. So what we want is the stable diffusion web UI and CivitAI by Kamenduros. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that well. So click on that template, and then it brings you back to the RunPod pod setup. So we have our GPU selected, we have the name provided, We also have the template choosing. It's going to cost us about $22 per hour. So running pod cost is $22 per hour. When we stop the pod, it's going to cost us about $0 per hour. So this is the pod summary you see there. So we're using the RTX 3090, which is going to give us about 20 gigabytes of RAM, 4V CPU, and then a total disk space of 80 gigs. Once all of the information which you have put here is right, and you have followed all of the steps so far, you then deploy on demand. So I will see you on the other side of the video because this could take a while this is getting ready. So after the initial run, it's brought me to my pod page where I have my pod. But if I click on this down arrow there, you'll be able to see a log of everything that is happening, where it is extracting items and downloading items from the website. So it's got a job worth 2.872 gigabytes to do, and it's just been able to get to 2.862. It's pretty fast. So we just let it continue to do this. And when it is done, should be able to see a status. This gray bar there should change to running. So we're just going to give this some time. I'll pause the video and then come back at the other end where we'll talk on next step once this indicates running. So once it is ready, you should see a status indicating running right on the top right hand of your screen. And then you will see details about the pod which you have also created. You would see the total number of storage that was used. For now, we do not have any volume mounted. We don't need that now. We would, subsequent video, I'll talk about that. So the scope of this video is just to show you how to set up a basic Stable Diffusion instance. So you have the template which we have selected, shown on the screen there, and your details about statistics about your pod. You have so far, I have on my screen, I have had a pod uptime of about 4 minutes, the total memory usage, and then you can get to see logs of everything that happened while your GPU was being spun up. So you will be able to then click on this connect. This allows you to connect to the pod. So there are two types of connection you could do. You could do the connect on the port 7860. So it's just something I need to mention here is that sometimes the port number, the port service itself may take a long time to get ready. So you would see waiting to get ready status and not ready, even though your dashboard is indicating that this pod is running, but the service itself, which is the service with which you would use to connect to Stable Diffusion, and you'll be connecting to that Stable Diffusion on this port number, it's not yet ready. So you just have to give it some time and wait for it to be ready. You also have access to connect to the web terminal of the pod. The web terminal of the pod just provides you a, a screen where you can use a command line interface, where you can use command line commands to be able to interact with your terminals, to be able to give instruction, copy files, stop services, access services from the web terminal. It's just a command line interface that you could use to do that. So this is ready. This is indicating ready. I would click on the HTTP service at port 7860. So that should bring us to Stable Diffusion, which would have already preloaded and pre-configured for that pod. So this is the Stable Diffusion interface. With this interface, I can start generating images from texts. So this is the Open Diffusion interface that would allow you to generate your image from the prompts. So the very first thing you want to notice is that there is a prompt text box here. This is just to allow you to enter your prompt in text. You could say something, a real life image of a girl in space. A real life image of a girl in space. And then you just click on generate. So that is the prompts text box, and that is all you have to do. So it comes with a default safe tensor model. I will show you in soon how to generate more models, how to download and install more models. So it comes with a safe. This just gives you a basic art generation, and also it's got the negative prompts. Negative prompts allows you to enter some of the characteristics you do not want to see in your image, allowing the model to be able to skip them. And just right there, you see the sampling method. See the sampling method. The algorithm used to generate, this is the algorithm, this allows you to select the algorithm that will be used to generate the image. There are different types of algorithms that you have there. There's the Euler, there's the DPMM 2++, 2 million, DPM plus 2 million SDE. You have all of these algorithm that can be used to generate the image. Later on in this presentation, in this our conversation, in this video, I will show you give to you resources that would allow you to select the best sampling method for any type of image you would want to generate. So on this, following it is the schedule type. This just controls how denoising progresses during sampling. It is mostly used for advanced setup, so don't worry about that. You can just go with the default for now. And then we've got the steps. Sampling steps just tells you how many details, more sampling steps, but slower render. So more steps, you get more details, but it would render slowly. A good place to start is usually a start sampling step of about 20 to 30. So that is a very good place to start. You could then, as you generate your image, you could play with these values and then bring them up, bring them down, and then see how they impact on your image. See the impact they have on the kind of images that you create. The next thing you want to see, which is also very important, is the CFG scale. The higher the CFG scale, the more closely your image follows the prompts. But the lower, you have more freedom for creating. You are actually telling the model to have, providing the model more freedom to be creative in the generation. More higher gives you and tells the model follow the prompts very closely. Lower tells the model you have more creativity. I'll repeat that again. Higher means you are telling the model to follow the prompts, strictly follow the prompts, while lower is you are telling the model be more creative. So, but a good place to start when you're selecting the CFG scale is between 7 and 10 for balanced results. So I usually just like to play between 7 or sometimes between 10 and see the impact on the results. So there's also seed, which is just a random number, but you could just leave it at the -1 for as the default. So I tend to just leave all of this as the default. And then there's scripts for extra effects, like you are trying to generate variations, batch images, or using control nets. So for now, as a beginner, you want to leave that as none. Okay, so let's return back to the text to image tab, and let's try to generate some images. I have got some image generation prompt sheets here, which I would share and put in the description. So in this sheet, I have organized different types of prompts according to the styles that you want to create. And I have also set the type of sampler that would be good for this image and the number of steps and the CFG scale that would be okay for it. So I've got different categories of prompts. I've got the landscapes and environments. I have the art styles, and I have the sci-fi and fantasy. So you can just pick any of these prompts and modify them as you will. This allows you to get started from something. So I'll just copy this one that says hyper realistic portrait of a woman with freckles, studio lightning, 85mm lens, and soft shadows. So let's just copy that, head over to paste that, and it says right here that DPM plus plus 2M Caras steps 25 and CFG 7.5. So let's just make those changes. DPM 2 plus plus, there's no Caras here, so we can just go with the DPM 2 plus plus, and also the steps is 25. So steps 25, just increase that to 25, and CFG scale 7.5. So we just increase that to 7.5. No other changes required now, and then it generates and wait for the results. Yes, that is what we have, close to reality as possible. So you could click on that, and then you would see the image which you could download. So if I click on save, that allows me to download the image to my file system. So I do save images, and I can download that to my file system. uh, Save images allows me to download that to my file system. So close this. Let's generate more. Let's go to another one, anime style. Let's do the anime girl with long pink hair, cherry blossoms, soft background, vibrant eyes. So I copy the prompts. So feel free to make modification to any of these prompts as you like. It wants a EULA A, so we go to EULA A, and steps 28, just make a change to steps 28, and CFG 8, so it needs a CFG 8, scale of 8. So I put it there, and then I hit generate. There you go. So thank you so much for joining us on this edition of our YouTube video, where we talked about generating images that are uncensored on the RunPod platform. We hope there's one or two things which you have learned and you can take away from the video so far. But watch out for the next part of this video, where we would talk about the different styles, the different models which you could use to enhance the output which you have generated from the images so far. So if you are the type who wants to do more, you want more images that are commercial grade, more images that could send out a hook that you could use on Instagram, Facebook, watch out for part 2. We will be sharing with you how to download the new models, extensive models that can allow you do different and create different kinds of images, such as anime images, cartoon character images. We will be showing you how to do that. But for now, keep exploring styles, keep exploring the platform, keep getting used to it. And if you haven't done so, follow the link below, the link that is available on in the description section. Follow that link, get your account created, get a pod up and running, and get Stable Diffusion up and running, and start playing with those styles. I have also included in the description below a guide that shows you the different kind of prompts and the different kinds of settings that you can use to create images under those prompts. So use that guide to get started, play around the platform, and keep doing that. And if this content has been useful to you so far, and you think you like what you see in this content and you want to encourage us to do more, like this video and also follow us so that you can be notified immediately part 2 of this video comes out. And other things you could do to engage with us is to drop comments with us, and share with other fellow enthusiasts who you think, other fellow AI enthusiasts who you think would gain a lot from this video. Thank you for watching. See you in part 2.